Well, peace, 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 fam. How y'all doing today? You see, I have a plane with my backgrounds, but I don't have my green screen yet. I had one, but there's a long story behind it. Anyway, this is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody. Peace, 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 peace. How y'all doing? I don't have quite the shadows. They're still there. Got the shadows there. I have the worst sleep patterns, by the way, just the worst. So I'm not sick. I just, well, if you consider insomnia sick, then yes, I am sick. I can't even say that in good conscience. I am not sick, but I do need to improve my sleep patterns, which I've been trying to do for over a decade now. Um, this is why I'm trying some different things, but I'm getting off topic already. Already, I'm getting off topic. I'm literally actually trying to train myself to be more nocturnal because it seems like if I'm out and about in the middle of the night, working as I was last night, only I wasn't out and about. I literally was in my office from 2 to 6:30 this morning, just working on a class because I woke up and I felt like I wasn't going to go back to sleep. So I came in here to work. And you would have thought after an hour I would have just crashed, but I didn't. I kept going. It was ridiculous. So I just stayed up long enough till I knew my dog was ready to go out and I could go out in my PJs and him without a leash, so he's safe. Everybody's still getting ready for work or whatever or sleeping. So I did all that and then I made something healthy for me and then I crashed for a couple of hours. And then I had to get back up again. So here I am. All right. So I actually have to make this really quick. Okay. But I'm getting all kinds of downloads. I felt like I wanted to get on here and tell you because I have a 2 o'clock and I need to get ready for that. So please like, share, and subscribe. Actually, let me thank you for liking and sharing and viewing my videos. Okay. I appreciate you very much. And if there's nothing to comment about, that's cool too. I am improving on my videos for sure. I mean, I remember my first video, the sound was horrible. But I'm ready to start using my mic again. My son gave me this. No, I can't show you, but my son gave me this really nice mic. And you have to put headsets on. So I'll start using that so I could look a little more professional too. But I need to get my green screen again. I'm bummed out that he threw away the green screen because I really wanted to use it. I didn't think he was going to throw it away. He never throws anything away. My son doesn't throw stuff away. As a matter of fact, I was like, starting to look a little hoardish, like hoarding going on here. And now it's just cute, like, okay, let me get on, let me do my thing, and he did. Like in a matter of hours, I was like, oh yeah, this is much, much better. This you deserve all of this, order. And he's good at it. He's fast at it. He just doesn't do it. So anyway, when I get him his house, when I help him buy his house, meaning when I, as a realtor, get him his house, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna have to help him along that way because otherwise it's going to be crazy because he gets so focused in things that he's like, I'll deal with that later. And he's a good guy. So he's a really good guy. I could not have asked for a better son. I honestly could not have. Literally from the time he was an infant to now. And people were fighting over wanting to babysit him. People don't generally fight over wanting to babysit your baby, crying infants. Okay. They were fighting. He was so good. He was so good. Um, he was my gift. He was my gift in this lifetime. All right, so let me get on topic, okay? So again, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing and viewing. Appreciate that. We are still in a new moon in Capricorn. All right, so I'm gonna have to timestamp this. We are still in a new moon in Capricorn. The reason it's a new moon is because the sun is also in Capricorn. And I think I explained to you what the new moon is, right? Yesterday, even though I myself is always forgetting. But the moon is there and the sun are both in Capricorn, and this is the last new moon of the year. It is also the last moon cycle of the year. And if I'm not mistaken, I mentioned yesterday it had been, I don't know. I don't know why that article said it had been 40 years since there was a new moon in Capricorn. That's not true. Maybe they were referring to the degrees or something. But anyway, because there was a new moon in Capricorn just, the beginning of this year. So I'm not really sure why that was. That was the East Indian article, the Hindustan Times. That's what that was. But anyway, the moon is still in Capricorn, new moon, but it is now in a waxing phase. Okay, so it hit its full moon stage yesterday. Remember, I told you at 5:26 p.m. It is now in its waxing stage. Um, Let me just say, this new moon was a trip. Okay, it was contentious. It it brought about distress, I guess is a word that I would use for me. You know, I went from a state of euphoria almost to what the is life doing? Like, why are you doing this thing? I was like angry. I don't think I like new moon in Capricorn. I don't like it. I was quite happy with the new moon being in Sagittarius. That is my natal placement. And I'm quite happy in that. I have a lot of love there. But when it moves into Capricorn, Saturn, the devil, the restrictor, it's just too much. It's like something's grinding down on you. That's what it feels like. Something's grinding down on you. And it's not like you don't know. It's like things are just coming up, or, you're finally focused on it, or you may be doing something like I'm doing in a class. I'm like, this is just going on and on and on like the break of dawn. And then you think, I shouldn't even have to be doing this anyway. What a stupid rule this is. Do you ask a lawyer to go back to law school and take the bar again just because they decide not to practice for 3 years? Like, man, like you start those type of things went up. So I was just like, just continue to work, just continue to focus. And so yeah, that's what this moon was like. And I gave a little bit of a fuss, to my higher ups. Like, hey, like this is kind of ridiculous, that you spent 16 years tearing down all of my structures, my financial structures, everything that had to do with my finances. They ripped it right out from under me, bit by bit by bit. And I mean, it was steady, and it was ongoing, and it wasn't like a little bit here, a little bit there. It was like significant, and it just kept going for 16 years. So yeah, I was fussing with them today, like I spent 16 years you dismantling everything, and now you dragging your feet about putting it back. I need you to put it back. That was my energy. Okay, I'm just telling. And while I'm on the phone dealing with something else, which I wasn't worried about it, but I was like, but they're not giving me the final go ahead. So I need to follow up on this, which I did, which means I had to be on hold forever long, carry my phone along with me here to do sound, all of that music. And I just stayed calm because, this is a really important thing for me. And the lady, is sweet. And but I went off yesterday on another matter that I wasn't going to get my way on. Just being honest. And she was highly patient. I said, well, you know, yeah, I let loose. I mean, not in yeah, I let loose. A couple of words slipped out, and I got a little comfortable with that. And then she was like, "Okay, you're going a little too far." I was like, "Well, I need you to do this thing because I am deserving of it. And you have my name on this contract, and don't tell me you can't give something to me, and don't gaslight me." I went in yesterday, and I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel like I went all out, because I had been tempering myself so much. So for me to even get to a portion of what I used to do, or how I used to flip out, it just was like, ooh, I don't like that. It didn't make me feel good. And I'm still not going to get my way. And she's never going to give me what I wanted to give. But in the end, she was searching for answers, which I didn't know. I was like, well, why is this? And you made this decision, and why is that? And how is it that I cannot have access to that? It's my file. And the whole time she's like, she's asking good questions. I think that's what was happening. She's like, shit, that actually makes a lot of sense. I know it does. So anyway, this was the new moon in Capricorn. That I went from this euphoric, oh, I feel so much love in my heart. It was swelling. Who do I give it to? Oh, I'll give it to myself. And I'm going to, nurture my baby girl inside to what the fuck? Yeah. That is the difference between the new moon in Sagittarius and the new moon in Capricorn. And I'm telling you, this is firsthand. I'm not giving you projected scenarios based on what the planetary, whatever. I'm telling you, this is what it's like. Okay. Firsthand, up front. This is natal stuff for me. Okay. I was born on a new moon in Sagittarius 8 hours before it moved into Capricorn. Okay. So I know, but it's really clear now to me, you know, that when I'm in a state of imbalance and that new moon in Sagittarius rolls around and I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I know I need to do some shadow work because um, I naturally uh, exude uh, heightened love, expanded because that's Jupiter energy. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter is the most benefic planet out there, and it is all about the planet of expansion. But I guess the whole point is whatever energy I am when the moon in Sagittarius comes around, Jupiter will expand it. This is why I need to do that shadow work if I'm feeling like this during a moon in Sagittarius. Make sense? I hope so. All right. So, great message I got today from one of my apps. Like I said, I like these messages. And sometimes if they don't apply today, it applies for some energy coming up and usually the next day. But the general phrase for today or message says to stand tall. And when it came across my phone while I was on my phone trying to get some matter straightened out, and it got straightened out. And I could breathe again, and then I could go back to being a jerk, basically. Okay. Because when I was on this phone, I was really feeling like I use a lot of biblical references because that's what I remember because I studied the Bible so intensely for a decade. Um, more than a decade probably. But so it reminded me of, John was, out there preaching and baptizing everybody, including Jesus. And then he's trashing, the guy's wife. Um, what's his name? The guy who was in charge of Rome at the time. I could be getting this a little mixed up. It wasn't the emperor. I don't think they call him the emperor. But he was like in the role of Pontius Pilate, basically. I don't know if it was Pontius Pilate's wife or some other governor or whatever his wife, but he was trashing her. And so they threw his tail in jail. And he was feeling really deflated because, he had gotten this message and he was supposed to do this thing. I mean, technically speaking, right? I know the Bible isn't literal, it is allegory, it is esoteric, and it could mean this story can mean a whole lot of other things. I know for a fact it probably does, but I'm just giving you the context in the literal sense of what this situation felt like to me. And in that scenario, Jesus came to visit him and basically, from what I remember, told him to put on his big boy pants. You're going to have to suck this shit up because you're about to take the hit. Okay. And I felt like that on that phone, right? Because again, I go from this euphoria to, okay, I got to deal with this phone call, which I totally forgot I had scheduled. And I was happy to take it because I wanted to get something resolved and didn't get resolved. And so I just ended up just blurting out all of my frustration, which was deserving because I got had pretty badly. Okay. And I made a lot of crappy decisions during the Pluto and Capricorn cycle era. A lot. And under contractual obligations, I was trying to, I guess, hold on to my wealth or trying to maintain my status. And I was, taking risks and I was stepping outside of my comfort zone and I'm going to do something different that I didn't do before, and it just all backfired, all of it. Every single last thing that I did to try to avoid what was coming, what was looming, which I saw coming. I tried to offset it, which any good manager would do, right? You wouldn't just sit there and just like take it on the chin. You'd be like, I could do something different. I could take some action, right? I was trying to do those things and it all backfired, all of it. And I am getting the blowback. I'm getting the blowback from it all. I don't feel like this particular situation is going to go in my direction no more than this fact that I have to retake the state real estate exam didn't go in my favor. I feel like this is one of those situations where I am just contractually obligated. Now I might what's the word I want to use? I might balk in a different kind of way and piss them off. I might do that. I'm trying to be mature about this, but they had jerking me. They had jerked me. They jerked me in this contract. They lied to me. They kept information from me, and I'm pissed. I'm hot. So, all right. So let's get back on track and get off of me. So, what was my message? Stand tall. And it reminded me of John, like I said, sitting in the prison, in the dungeon, about to get his head chopped off. And he was feeling a certain kind of way, as we can only imagine. And when I was on the phone and earlier today in trying to work out another situation, I was composed. I was very composed, but I could feel the deflation. My body language showed it. And I was just, I couldn't fuss at my higher ups at that point because I was just like, there's no, there's no hope here, no matter what I do. Like I was literally feeling, I was going in that direction. And this message comes across and says, stand tall. Basically put on your bigger panties. And I sat up, you know, I sat up in my car because, I was waiting for an order. And I took this message literal and I was like, so, and it worked. It literally worked out. I said, well, what if you did this and take that off and tell me what the results would be? They said, okay, I could try that. And she did that. And let me read these to you. Okay, do that. And oh yeah, you're good. You're back active again. So, I mean, the fact that I followed up was good. It was absolutely good, because you can't go without health insurance. I had to, put in I had conflicting information in there that I had to go in there and correct. But the new information didn't boot me out of this plan into another situation. And that was the best news I could have gotten. The best, the absolute best. And I don't know, when you go through that type of roller coaster, which is on my list right now, I guess we should kind of move on. Um, I don't know if the rest of you are feeling like a roller coaster or bipolar, you know, where it's like one moment you're feeling so good, next moment it's an extreme feeling of love and compassion and joy, and like nothing can go wrong because you're feeling the core of the universe's love, in your body. And then in a snap of a finger, you're in this, oh my God, I'm back to this state of despair. This information has come in, I've lost. This information has come in and is not going in my favor. And this thing came in that I wasn't expecting it. And you're just like snatched out of this utopia into like the underground with Pluto. It's just bipolarish. It feels like that. I could just be me. I get that. But if it's you too, then I mean, look at what's happening in the world. Doesn't it seem like polar to you? One minute everybody's like, Trump is the man. He's got the executive seat, he's got the House, he's got the Senate, dude is on top. He's got this new Doge, agency with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And in a matter of one very long tweet, Ramaswamy, I guess that's how you forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He's never done anything. Well, yeah, he did say some weird stuff about my people, but Vivek, we'll call him Vivek, um, puts out this really long tweet trashing white America. And they came back in all their vengeance. So, how do you go from this is the fucking man? This dude, like, you cannot get any higher, and and not that Trump did it. Let me make that clear. It's not that he did it, but it's like he put together this team and got this team with this new agency, and they're flying freaking high. And then this tweet comes out, and next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, America really is racist. Yeah, we kind of told you that. You're actually kind of racist too. he didn't I guess he didn't expect that they would like turn on him because he had done his due diligence by trashing foundational Black Americans, right? He had done his due diligence, like Kamala did, right? She did her due diligence. So anyway, that's what I mean by these extreme polar energies, these energies. Like, and literally you're at one far end of the the um oh my God, what is it? You're at one far end of the pole, right? You're at the very extreme end of one pole in a very happy place, and then you blink and you're over here at the other extreme. And this is what this all this energy is like. Pluto in Aquarius is definitely playing this part in this. Saturn in Pisces is playing this part in this. The new moon in Capricorn is playing a part in this. Venus is currently in Aquarius, right? I told you that's my natal placement. That could be detaching in terms of love. Moon squaring Jupiter. You know, Mars retrograde in Leo. This is all of this energy. All of these are huge energies, by the way. You still have Uranus and Taurus sitting there as if nothing's really happening there. Maybe we've gotten used to the energy of Uranus and Taurus, but okay, Uranus really is the expect the unexpected planet. Aquarius is partially ruled by Uranus. Expect the unexpected. I've been saying that so much that was happening so much that I was like, I need to stop saying that because I'm actually manifesting, expecting, and getting the unexpected. It was just too much. It's too erratic for me. It was just too, because Aquarius is an air sign, and I need to be more grounded. I like being up in the ethers, but that was a little too much air movement for me. Um, So yeah, so I think Uranus is kind of like the sneaky energy in the background. It's still there doing its thing in Taurus. Taurus rules the second house, a house of money, value, finances, what we eat. So Taurus rules the throat. So what we say, what we don't say, how we say, oh my God, it's just Gemini is doing some things to Mercury. Mercury, I think, just came out of his shadow. Where is Mercury? Where is Mercury? Mercury is in Sagittarius. That is my natal placement too. No, I want to make sure I have this right. Do I have this right? I am literally going through my entire natal Earth return. It just wasn't a solo return. I am literally going through every return of all my planets. Sun in Capricorn, Mercury in Sagittarius, Venus in Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces. Wow. I think I listed off 5 or 6 things, but is Jupiter retrograde? Let me see. I'm looking at my app. Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter is absolutely retrograde. Sure is. That's absolutely my natal placement. So a lot. I like going on bipolar this, bipolar that. That's the energy. I kept saying it feels like I'm on this roller coaster. Will it just please stop? I just want to get leveled, and kind of stay there. But I like the ebb and flow. I can expect. I should expect, right? But this up and down extremes, that's where we are at. All right, so I actually skipped around a little bit, and I have to get going. Um, the intuitive message. So I gave you the message that I got from the app. The intuitive message I got, which was quite interesting, And in a nutshell, it says to redefine your limited thinking and your belief systems. I know you've heard that before. Redefine your limited thinking. Redefine your thinking, especially if your thinking is limited, which I mentioned yesterday in my video, or a lack thinking style, mentality, right? Um, and it doesn't mean like your whole mentality is you have a lack mindset. It could be an area in your life where the thinking in that area, there's a lack mindset. So it's not all of who you are. Just like someone is impatient, they don't have to be impatient every facet of their life. Just maybe one or two areas or a certain area, where they have a lot of patience, but you'll always find with the impatient person, you'll see that they have patience in another area, right? Like me. Um, so redefining your limited thinking, redefining your belief systems. So I'll give you an example. I'm in the store. My hair was kind of up, but it was kind of messier. I didn't have lipstick on, and I had my big old coat on, even though it got warmer as I was out. So I still had my coat on, the heavy coat with the, furry, whatever. And I had my Crocs on, and it wasn't really the best shoes for the pants that I had on, but I wasn't really supposed to get out the car. I wasn't supposed to actually go in the store, right? So it was like, I was supposed to get out the car, but not in a broad setting like the one I ended up having to go into, right? Because they didn't have my item. I actually ended up in the store having to get that and a few other things. So I wasn't at my best. Let's put it that way. And I ran into this older gentleman, and it was almost like he found me. And he looked in my face. And then I looked at him. And then I looked at him. And I was like, he looks like somebody I know. So I leaned back. He didn't say anything to me. And he turned. I was like, that looks like somebody I know. And I felt myself like, because his face was shaped that way, the physique, he had the big hood on, almost like he was a Eskimo. It looked like Eskimo. It was really warm out today, you know, not Eskimo type weary thing. Even though I had my coat on, I had my zipper down a little bit, but his thing was like, you know, cute little Eskimo, but an Eskimo still. And he was older. He was definitely older, like somebody's uncle, like an older uncle. And I just remember he turned and I looked and I remember scanning him literally from head to toe, definitely down to the legs. And I was like, oh my God, he looks just like someone I know. And he was so put together. Here I am. I'm a woman. You're never supposed to go out with wrinkled clothes, or you always have to. Mm. And I was in that new moon and Capricorn phase. I was like, I don't give a, I have to go out. I don't want to go out, and I'm gonna have to go out, and you're gonna have to deal, and I don't care what you say. And I was in that mood, right? Not a good mood for me. I have to always keep it a buck when I go out. Every woman should, right? I have those moments when I absolutely don't give up. Because there's too much on my plate and you're asking too much of me. That's what I'm thinking. Take some things off my plate and then I can do this thing. But you're asking too much of me. I was up in the middle of the night for 4.5 hours. You're asking too much of me. Why did I have to take this class anyway? That's the energy I was in. I'm just keeping it about. That's where I was. New moon in Capricorn. Okay. So he's looking all put together in his Eskimo style. And I'm feeling like, as you would like, let me put it like this. You run across someone who is a high level athlete or better yet, a movie star. and they're dressed in such a way, and there's an aura. There's more than an aura about them. It's not their aura, it's their energy, right? And they're statuesque, the way they stand and the way they present themselves in society. Like, look at me, you know? And there can be a level of intimidation, like, this person is too good for me, which is such a big lie, right? Well, this person is over my station, above my paycheck, above my class. They are in a different class than me. Does anyone ever feel that way? Have you ever come across somewhere and you like, that's a whole nother class for me? I've heard men say it about women they've come across. I don't normally hear women say it. So I'll be the first. And I've done that before, over and over and over again, silently to myself. Um, this is the age of truth telling. So I'm telling them myself, right? And you just come across certain men and they just so put together, you're like, that's out of my league. That's what men say. That's out of my league. Women say it too. I'm thinking I'm not the only one in the boat. Rarely are we the only ones in the boat by ourselves, right? And it really happens more so. It may be sitting back there all the time, but if you're dressing to the nine, you still have a little more confidence. And so people have looked at me and said, she's out of my league. I know that. When I walk into the store with a hoodie on is one way. If I walk in the store with my little puffy coat with the fur around the collar, the doors get opened for me, right? So the way we dress and present ourselves in society is how society treats us back, right? Because this is this unspoken word that I am of high value, and I present myself in society as high value. Um, I have a little bit of a bitch face, so I may not look high value, but you better not with me. You know what I'm saying? Um, so this gentleman had this. I'm telling you, he had the Eskimo. He was all zipped up, and just cute as a freaking button. And he looked so put together, right? Like there wasn't a blemish anywhere on his skin, you know. And he could have just gotten up and showered and put on a pair of pants, but it's some people, they just have this thing about them where they could just put on sweats. I'm thinking they're Tauruses. They could just put on sweats and you just feel like they spent hours in the mirror. And when I go out there and just put on sweats, you know it. I have to spend some time in the mirror. I don't have that natural, I have to work at it. And someone might say to me, no, you don't. It depends on your audience. In some places I go, yeah, it looks like she's always put together. You could tell she's well kept. And then there's some instances where I feel like, oh, shrinking. I do. I do. I'm just being honest. And so anyway, I ended up running in the going in the line, and the gentleman happened to be in front of me. And side note, there was a little girl that wanted this toy, and Mama's like, "I want to get the toy, but you see how," she says to the little girl, "You see how long this line is? We have to get back to the house." And the little girl has a fit. She crashes out. She has a moment there. And I said, well, I'm thinking I can help her because it's just one item and she can get in front of me. I have 4 or 5 items. She can get in front of me. I don't care. But when the mother was breaking down the circumstance, I was like, well, I can't help you. I can't move the line quicker. We are far back. And and so a gentleman asked to help her. She said no. And in the meantime, the gentleman, the Eskimo, he kind of gets out of line and he goes back to, they have these coolers, right? As a side cap. And he goes back like he was getting a drink. And I said, so I took note. I said, he was in front of me. So I'm not going to let him lose his place. So, okay, getting back, this gentleman asked if he could help the lady and her daughter, and she says no. And the daughter is having a full-blown crying breakdown. Okay. And I noticed the line starts to move. And the gentleman behind me who asked to help her had this huge cart full of stuff. So yeah, he could, he could have, yes, definitely let her in. She said no. And so oh, okay. So the gentleman, Mr. Eskimo, he's down, at the cooler and trying to pick some. And as the line starts moving, I said, but I said, he's here first, sir. Do you want to go? You want to get back in line? I don't know how it's like this man was following me. I don't know. It was really weird. And I was feeling embarrassed because I was like, I had no lipstick on. My hair was definitely messier and it wasn't like uniform like it is now, And I got these pants on with the Crocs that didn't, give credence to my Crocs, kind of thing. So he said, no, 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 no. So anyway, so that was the deal. And then I turned to the mother because the line was moving. I was like, you can get in front of me if you want, because it's just one item. And she said, okay. So she gets in front of me, but the little girl is in a full-blown meltdown and she can't stop crying. And she's still crying. So the mother's like, listen, you don't want to get how we black mamas are like, listen now, I'm working with you here, but I'm gonna have to like tighten this thing up now. You don't want me to have to like, she's like, but she's in a meltdown. She can't get it together. Can't, she can't comprehend that she's getting the toy and her mother, is willing to now get in line, pay for it, and they can still get to where they need to go and get there at a reasonable time. And the little girl is in a full blown meltdown, and the mama is trying not to lose it, but she's kind of losing it too. And then I was like, it's not good to interject with somebody else's family, I was just like, So I bit my tongue, and the little girl was just in a meltdown. And the mom is still like, listen, okay, I'm gonna have to threaten you here because I'm getting. And I said to her, I talked to this little girl. I decided to say something, and I said, why are you still crying? And the mother turned to me, and I said, oh shit. And the little girl turned to me, and she's got the tears in her eyes and everything. And when they both turned to me, I bent down and I said, why are you crying? I said, your mama's going to get you the toy, right? She said, yes. I said, and I let you in line in front of me so you can go faster. And she said, and then the mother said, well, tell her thank you. Because in my mind, that's what I was thinking. Like, you should say to her, tell her thank you, and like explain to her that she doesn't have to have a meltdown anymore because it's okay. I'm willing to stay in line. This lady's willing to help me get out of the line quicker and everything. So because the mother couldn't, was at this point, it was like an image thing. My daughter's on a meltdown. I can't have people thinking I could just and all that stuff. Like she was in that mode and she wasn't able to really say, listen, like it's okay now because I'm actually giving you what you want. And so that's when I decided to interject at a risk. But when I opened up my mouth, they both turned to me and the little girl had these beautiful eyes. She just looked at me with the tears in her eyes. And I knew at that moment I had to bend down and talk to her. But I talked to her like an adult. I said, why are you still crying? Aren't you going to get your toy? Yes. And I said, and I let you in front of me so you can get it. And then she understood. She said, okay. And then mama understood too. She was like, tell the lady thank you. She's like, thank you. And she stopped crying. That was cool. Right. All right. I have to go. So here's my point in this redefine your limited thinking beliefs. As I got in the car and I thought about Mr. Eskimo, sexy guy, because he was an old man, but he was sexy as hell, just this really tiny frame and just put together. And I thought, Why did I feel like I'm not in his class? What would make me believe I'm not in his class? Just because I had a little messy hair day and outfit day. So I decided I'm going to redefine what perfection is. Because when I see people like that, I put them on a pedestal and I look at them as this is perfection. They put together as tight as, I've spent hours to do that at times, for me, it feels like. And I just automatically put, and I said, no, 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 no. I'm not doing that anymore. He's not above me. He isn't more classier than me. He may not even be a good person. I don't know that. But I don't know his heart. I don't know his mind. I don't know his history. And, you know, he could be the cutest, little sexiest old Eskimo ever on the outside. And God knows what he might be on the inside. I don't know. Or he could just be a man with a heart of gold. I don't know that. But why would I define what he's projecting outside of him and comparing myself to it and saying I'm not good enough? Hell no, I am good enough. You are good enough. You probably don't have this issue, but whatever that issue might be with you, you are good enough. You are deserving of it. And so I decided in that moment in the car as I was heading off down the road, I said, no more of this. I'm going to redefine what perfection is. And perfection looks like me. I don't have to put anybody else on a pedestal. Okay. And I don't have to go up there to try to prove to someone that I am perfect in my imperfection. I am perfectly imperfect, as we all are, perfectly imperfect. But hell with putting people on a pedestal because they come off with this swag. I don't have that swag all the time. And I may be in my new moon and Capricorn moments, but it doesn't make me less than. I am just as more than ever. You feel me? All right, I'm actually late for my meeting. So God bless you. Peace and blessings to you. Happy New Year to you. And remember, continue to smile and may your smile shine as bright as the star. Let me say that right. May your blah, 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 blah. May your smile shine as bright as the star that you are, that we are. Peace. Blessings.